Hey, 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 beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I hope that you are having a wonderful Friday and you're still having a wonderful Friday. It is a beautiful day here in the A. Excuse me. We didn't get any storms today, so far, but it's still all good. If we get those summer showers, it's still all good. Liquid sunshine is here to stay. I am enjoying it. So it is still a beautiful day out here in the A. The sun is shining. It's hot though. It's hot. It's still summertime hot. So, but no complaints. How are you and how's the weather where you are? Listen, this is day 2, you guys. Day 2 of TLC's 31-day journey to bridging the communication gap with Coach TaShon. I am Coach TaShon, your marriage communication coach. Yes, your marriage communication coach, here to support you and your spouse in bridging the communication gap. And this month, we're diving into conflict resolution. Conflict resolution for couples married 7 years plus. So this week, we're going to discuss understanding conflict, identifying conflict triggers, the importance of timing, active listening skills, expressing feelings clearly, and respecting differences. And today is day 2. Again, these are simple and attainable steps to bridge the communication gap. However, remember, you have to practice these daily, not next week, not tomorrow, not next month, not when you get mad and all flustered. No, you have to practice these daily, okay? Daily. That's the only way that's going to work. Because again, what did I tell you? I don't like to be stressed, so I'm not going to stress you, right? I'm not going to stress you. But what we're going to do, you're going to have to do the work, and we're going to do this work together, okay? So, listen, so today we're going to identify some conflict triggers. So I hope you have your notepad, your journal. What I tell you? Go to the dollar store, get you a journal. I ordered these off of Amazon. Easy. These are online journals. Real cheap. They have the lined ones too. So get you a journal. This one's from Amazon, but you can go to the Dollar Tree. I want you to get a journal so you can start taking your notes for the month of August. You've been rolling with me. You rolled with me for June and July. So now we're rolling to August. Go ahead and prepare to take down these notes, okay? And when you're ready, when you're actually ready, you're going to go ahead and connect with me with a clarity call so we can get this ball rolling, okay? Because I got a good TLC coaching offer for you that I'm going to tell you at the end. You got to stay connected, okay? So listen, here are 5 easy, engaging talking points for you guys, right? Here's something I want you, again, title it talking points, because you're going to go back and reflect on that, okay? You're going to go back and reflect on these talking points. We're going to identify conflict triggers for you and your mate, 7 years plus. All right, here we go. Number 1, I got my lesson plan for you. Yep, I told you. I'll be doing the thing. I'll be studying, okay? Listen, we're going to recognize emotional hotspots. Basically, all you're saying is, what are the topics that always seem to push your buttons, that just really just kind of irritate you? You know, could it be finances? Could it be the children? Could it be your job? Could it be your entrepreneurship? Could it be what? Could it be your neighbors? What is that topic that just seems to put you there on the edge, and you're just like, I don't want to talk about it, and I'm really ticked off, but what is it, right? So identifying these emotional hotspots is the first step in managing your conflict more effectively. So when you're able to identify these triggers, you'll know how to navigate the conversation. You'll know how to navigate your thoughts and your responses to the conversation. Your spouse may not understand or know your triggers, and this is why you have to communicate it to your spouse. They don't know. Or if they know, then that's a different type of problem. If they're trying to push your buttons deliberately, then that's something else that we have to deal with, right? But your spouse may not understand or may not know your triggers. So this is why you have to communicate with your spouse. Let your spouse know what triggers you, what conversation, what topics trigger you, right? In our household, we don't get into the politics, right? We each have our own opinions and thoughts about it, but we also know how to step back from it once it becomes, if it start escalating. Remember, I talk about those code words, and I'll throw out that code word, maybe a difference that we're not, together on, but that does not mean your marriage is over with, right? We just have to learn how to identify those triggers. So I won't say it's a complete trigger, but politics may be a trigger for you in having a conversation with your spouse. So if that is a trigger for you, you need to let your spouse know. Say, hey, the politics conversation, I really don't want to talk about it. I'm not ready to, or I'm not sure how to discuss politics without feeling triggered. Because let's be honest, I don't know about y'all, but this election year, again, is very traumatizing for me, right? So I have expressed that to not only my husband, but to friends and family. Listen, I'm good with, I don't have to talk about politics. I am good. I know what I'm going to do or what not. So that gives me those boundaries as well. And so those are the boundaries that we talked about before that you will have for your spouse. Okay. So it's okay to identify your triggers so that you can have good conflict, not unhealthy conflict, because you will disagree on something, right? And it's okay. It's okay. However, when you're able to identify those triggers, it's going to make the conversation easier to have. Okay. Number 2, post experiences influence. Basically, how do past. I'm sorry. Past. Oh Lord. Here we go. I've been in denial, y'all. Past experiences. I was like, that don't make any sense. Post. What did I write? Past experiences influence. Basically, how do your past experiences shape your reactions? Okay. Understanding the role of past events in your current conflicts can help you approach them with more clarity and compassion. How does your past influence your future, your present, and with your conflict? Or were you always arguing with somebody when you had conflict? Was it just really rough? Was it tough? Like having conflict in your conversation in communication, when you're communicating it, did it always end up in an argument, like a really knock down, drag out type of argument? If so, then that's when you go back and you identify your triggers, and then you visit those past experiences, and then you see what could you do differently. Okay, because your spouse may bring up these same topics, but how are you going to handle it differently from what you did before? Okay. Number 3, stress and fatigue. Ooh, notice how stress and fatigue can amplify conflicts. Recognizing these triggers allows you to address the underlying issues rather than just the surface arguments. Listen, I don't know about y'all, but if I finish arguing, which I shouldn't be, right? But if we've had some intense moments of fellowship, y'all. Some intense moments of fellowship, right? And so when you've had those intense moments of fellowship, it's going to stress you out. It's going to stress you out, and you're going to get tired because you're both in this battle. You're both trying to hear each other. You're trying to make sure the other person is hearing you or whatnot. And it's going to stress you out. Believe it or not, it's going to stress you out. Okay. So you don't want to get to that point. You do not want to get to that point of your conversations stressing you out. Your communication. It shouldn't be. You should not want to be in that predicament where you're going to start an argument because you can't you cannot resolve your conflict in a healthy manner. You see what I'm saying? So it will stress you if you are going to argue like that, but you shouldn't. Okay? Number 4, communication styles clash. So do your different communication styles create friction? Identifying how you and your spouse communicate differently can prevent misunderstandings and reduce conflict. Again, I talked about this in the beginning. We're going to go back over this. Your communication style is not going to be the same as your spouse. And it is okay. Say it with me. It is okay. That means you just have to work together to understand each other and your communication style, right? You're going to have to. In order for you to bridge that communication gap, you're going to have to sit down and understand each other's communication style. My husband is a quiet person. He is not a talker. I am more of the talker, right? So I understand my communication style is going to be totally different from his. So that means my conversations are going to be different. But I'm going to make sure that he understands that, right? And I don't have to beat him down. I don't have to fuss and fight about it or anything like that, because we have an understanding of our communication styles. And we've gotten to that point. Okay, you get to that point, you process. It's a process, you guys. It's not going to happen overnight, even with you being married 7 years plus, because again, things have changed. Your communication styles have changed. Okay, and number 5, unmet expectations. Unmet expectations often lead to conflict. Reflect on whether your expectations are realistic and clearly communicated to your partner. What are you expecting with your communication in your marriage? Are you expecting to have a conversation every day about everything all the time? Are you expecting to have healthy conversation? You should expect to have healthy conversation. You should expect your communication to bridge that gap, right? But how are you going to do it? What things do you have in place? What resources, what tools do you have in place to meet these expectations? It's great. And this is why I love having a vision for your marriage. This includes having a vision for your communication. Yes, and we don't think about that, but having a communication vision for your marriage. Because again, your spouse may not be a talker. Your spouse may just enjoy being in your presence, right? They don't have to talk. They don't have to respond on everything, right? Again, that does not mean it's bad. However, you need to understand what is your partner's communication style. And we'll talk more about that, okay? So these talking points, these points for you guys are just what they are, talking points for you. So I hope you wrote them down so you can go back. Now, here's your next step. You ready? Here's your next step. You're going to share one trigger you've identified in your relationship, in your marriage, and then journal it about how you can respond differently to your triggers. So I want you to respond. So you're going to write down your triggers. You're going to think about a conversation you had. You're going to write down what triggered that, right? What was your trigger? What was your response? You're going to identify that, and then you're going to write about it. You're going to write about it. And then you're going to think, how can I do this differently? How can I be a step ahead of these triggers? Okay? So remember, in order to build the communication gap, you have to be willing to do the work. It's not going to happen overnight. It is not. I wish it could, but it's not. It takes practice. It's a process, and you will see the fruits of your labor. Okay? So if you are ready, remember I told you stay with me. If you are ready to take the next steps to bridging the communication gap in your marriage with TLC coaching, couples coaching, listen, I have an amazing offer for you. An amazing offer. Just click the link. The link is in the description. Okay, click that link. It is now $777 investment for 7 sessions, you guys. 7 impactful sessions. You get personalized sessions effective communication strategies. You'll get an interactive workshop, which is one of my favorite tools. The interactive workshop, which is the TLC DreamBoard Experience. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. And you get continuous support throughout this process, continuous support and resources throughout this process. So I'm not going to leave you hanging, right? I'm not going to leave you hanging. I wouldn't be a good coach if I did. But I'm going to make sure you have the adequate tools and resources, okay? So for a limited time offer, limited spaces, so I need you to go ahead. If you're ready, go ahead and click the link, IamTrinetteLCollier.com, for a clarity call to see if you are ready. And if you just absolutely know that you're ready, click that link for the TLC coaching, couples coaching, all right? And I also have the TLC DreamBoard Experience. So if you want that service, look, go onto my website. I'm so excited, y'all. This TLC DreamBoard Experience, I am super excited about it, right? It is phenomenal because it bridges that communication gap. It gives you that vision for your marriage, okay? So stay connected with me, you guys. And as I continue to bring you 31 days of bridging the communication gap, but we're talking about conflict resolution. This is a 31-day journey, okay? A 31-day journey, not a challenge, but a journey, because again, I'm in this with you. I'm not going to leave you hanging, but you're going to have to do the work, okay? So until tomorrow, come back for day 3. I want you to do that tonight. Remember, you're going to identify your triggers. All right, you're going to share one trigger and you're going to that you've identified in your relationship, and then you're going to write about it. You're going to write about it. Okay, so make sure you do that. Okay, so yeah, make sure you do that. All right, and so until tomorrow, enjoy this beautiful evening. You still have time to do it. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. And it's easy. It's very easy. Okay? So I will talk to you all tomorrow. I love you. Peace.